All right, so I want to see an active chat. I want to know who's here. I want to know where you're from, what you're up to, and what you're hoping to get here today, because you don't know me from Adam, possibly. So what made you come here and what are you hoping to get? And that'll make sure I actually give you something you came for. All right, better than you found them. Humanity as your business superpower. Sounds kind of airy-fairy, doesn't it? Well, I have built a $30+ million business on this concept. And what I hope by the end is to show you how to leverage what you already have as your business superpower, especially right now. So let's get going. All right, this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to say, why humanity? Well, because the customer is human. We'll talk a little bit about that, but then we're going to get right down into the dirt. One of the biggest things that ties us up and slows us down is the way we work with people, and we work with people constantly. Whether we like it or not, we don't necessarily get to pick what kinds of people we're working with. Am I right? I know I'm right. The next thing we're going to talk about is delegating. Delegating seems like, wow, why don't you just pull that one right out of the air, right? Well, because it's one of the reasons you're not doing as well as you want to be. It's one of the reasons you're not growing. And we're going to fix that. And it's a human thing. It all comes down to you as a human being. And finally, how to take a punch. We've all taken some punches. We thought the pandemic was going to be a punch, and it wasn't. It was a big fat hug. The punch is coming now. So I'm going to show you how to handle that and anything else that might be coming your way. All right, let's get going. All right, so why humanity? Because the customer is human. We have been, as well we should, and I'm a huge fan of the evolutions in our industry, but we have been making it more and more efficient, more and more creative. The entire tech world continues to evolve at a breakneck speed, and I am here for it. I love it. I am so excited about the metaverse. There's so many opportunities coming at us, but it all starts and ends with people. People with real people problems, with real people issues, with real people loves, wants, hates, all that good stuff, all the messiness. We haven't yet figured out how to eliminate the human completely from the process. So as long as we are continuing to serve humans, we've got to bring humanity into it. One of the things, this is not a new meme, but it's going around TikTok right now, is you can have it fast, you can have it cheap, and you can have it good, but you can only pick two. And the same thing goes for how we deliver to our customers. And the part that we have over-indexed on and has caused us problems is the fast and the cheap. The fast and the cheap is not something that humans want good. The people that we want to work with want good. So when we're spending too much time worrying about fast and cheap, we're missing the good. We're going to find it today. All right, let's get right down to business. So when you are being intimidated, annoyed, bored, if you're having a strong reaction to someone else, whether it's an agent or a customer, prospect, whatever, home inspector, come on, let's talk. You are causing a problem. It's not them, it's you. When you are having those feelings, you have engaged with that person in a really unproductive way. And like I said in my intro, if you watched it, like how many times in the past 2 years have you wanted to punch someone in the face? I mean, you may have felt it today already. Punching people in the face is bad for business. We can't do that. What is the alternative? Because you can get to a certain point in your career, I suppose, where you can be real fussy about who you work with, and you just can say no to lots of people. I'm not there yet, and I'm doing 30 million, so I don't know. Let me know if you're there where you can just say no. In the meantime, we have to figure out how to be with these people in a productive way that makes business happen. Here's how you do it. So first I want, let me just, oh, I missed one note here. The other thing that you're doing when you are intimidated, annoyed, or bored by someone is you are objectifying them. So usually we hear like objectifying in the terms of like sexualizing someone and be like, hey, baby, what's up? No, this is you have made them less human and you have put distance between you and them. Bad, bad. Everything we're taught in order to create relationships and build our business says we need to get close, right? And create relationship. Well, you're going in opposite land when you are experiencing these feelings. You can't let that happen. Real bad for business, almost as bad as punching people. What we need to do is figure out how to get close to them. And you're like, ew, yuck, no, I don't want to be close to these people. You can't make me. Fair enough, but just stay with me and see if you can give this a try. So I want you to think of someone right now who gets under your skin, whether they, again, who intimidates you, bores you to death, irritates you. Think of someone in your business who really just rubs you the wrong way. Like, ugh. And we're going to do the humanity test on them. So here are the questions. And you can, I don't care, get on your phone, go figure this out. Get on Facebook, wherever all this information is available. When is their birthday? Why is that important? Well, it means they were born. I have a question for you. Have you ever held a newborn baby? Like, you know, oh, I smell them. Have you ever held a newborn baby and looked at him and been like, what an a-hole? If you have, then you're the a-hole. Nobody does that. Babies are perfect. They're gifts from God. Like, oh, so what, why do you look like that little baby could end up being an a-hole? That person that irritates you to death was a teeny tiny baby once. Somebody loves this person so much and treasures them, or at least they did for a day or so, right? Like something happened between here and there that made them the way they are. We don't know, but they started perfect. Something to think about. Where'd they go to high school? Oh yeah, you went to high school too, didn't you? You do have something in common with this person. Who knows? Maybe they went to the same high school for all you know. Are they married? This is a good one. If they are married, you know what that means? That means somebody looked at all the billions of people in the world. They found this guy and they were like, I want him. And you're like, what? But somebody picked him. So there's got to be something, or her, something redeeming, something lovable in that person. You just have to have the faith that it's there. Same thing. So if they're a parent, that means that there's a little baby version of them going around and they think this person hung the moon. They worship this person. They got life from this person. Like, wow, yeah, I have kids. They think I'm pretty cool. Wow, that person, all right, maybe they're not so bad. All right, do they have a dog? My dog people. I know I have dog people on here. If they have a dog, they can't be that bad, right? Like dog people are something different. And if you're dealing with an agent, what did they do before real estate? Everybody did something. Maybe they were in a field that was similar to yours. Maybe they did something that is so incredibly cool that you never would have predicted. Like, keep your mind open, gather that information about that person and notice how your attitude changes about them. Now, this doesn't mean you're suddenly going to be friends with them, or they're not going to be irritating, or have, doesn't mean they're going to be someone that you want to actually be close to. But if you can get this information, you will start to see them in a different light. Funny story. Earlier in my career, I was a young agent and I was really nervous on one of my early transactions. And I was trying to do everything right. We're at the closing and I was already kind of intimidated by this agent, but he had such an attitude at this closing. He's got his hands back, crossing his legs, changing position, getting like big on the table, doing all that. And I was like, who does this guy think he is? And I'm like sitting neat and trying to remember all my lines and do everything right. And remember when we used to go to closings, by the way? Anyway, so, and I just over and over was just like, I cannot wait to get away from this guy, because like he was like real old school, like good old boy, and I was a young woman, and he wasn't taking me seriously, and I just just hated his guts. Fast forward, I'm working with now like the best manager ever. She's like raised these 3 tough little boys, and she's like built the market in our area for our brand. Like she's amazing. And I love listening to her stories, and she's telling me a story about the kids and when they're going through a particularly wild stage. And she was like, actually, the neighbors even got involved in helping me. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Like, you know, you the village. And she was talking about this one particular guy who really stuck his neck out for the family and would give rides or just be like, you know, I'll unlock the door for him, whatever. It's this guy. I'm like, it can't be that guy. She's like, yeah, it's that guy. Fast forward a few years later, I see him. Now I have more confidence. I've learned how to humanize people, and I see him with completely new eyes. First of all, I've got information about him as a human, which is pretty awesome. She was just glowing about him. And then I'm also watching him like, he's still super jumpy and everything, but like, you know, no, fast forward, I've got all these kids. I've got a kid with ADHD. I'm like, oh, he's got ADHD. That guy can't sit still to save his life. He's not like trying to literally flex on me. He can't stay still. Oh my God, poor guy. And furthermore, when he saw me, he was like, Katie, what's up? How are you? Like, with all the respect in the world. So this guy was the jerk, not him. So if you use this humanity test and just have some faith that these people might have some redeeming qualities, even if you have to make them up, you are no longer giving your power away, because that's what you do. You're giving your power away. You're ending up down here. If you can humanize them, you come up to be the same level. Here's a funny thing that's happened now that I've done it. Even like celebrities, when I humanize them, I suddenly am like, I don't get starstruck anymore. I will say one exception. When I met Gary Vee, thank you very much, Fraser. I lost my shit, but I did not check the language before we started. Anyway, but I was able to actually have my wits about me and not be a blubbering idiot when I talk to him, because I know he's human. Anyway, questions about that before we go any further? I'm going to try to look at the chat, and if I can, that'll be great. And if I can't, I'm going to ask my friends to help me. All right, moving on. 3 lame, oh, chat. Hello, chat. What are we up there? Humanizing others is so important, Kara. And it's so easy. It is so easy. And it literally is a superpower. It means that I'm no longer scared to meet any listing. Like I will sit down with anybody with any listing, because we're all just people. And I know we have things in common, and I can learn about these people. And we all do research before our prospects, before we meet them. So do it. Don't just look on LinkedIn, look on Facebook, look at their family, be like, oh my gosh, they vacation in the same place I used to. That's cool. All right. Now tell me, how many people here, I'd like to hear in the chat, how many people here are feeling a little overwhelmed? Like you get a little too much on your plate, and you know delegating would be good. Like you know you should be, and it makes a lot of sense, but either you don't really know where to start, or frankly, you just don't want to for whatever reason. Who here knows they should be delegating or delegating more, but has not quite? Carrie, guilty. Laura, yeah, it's tough. It is tough. What are some of the reasons? I want to see if these are any of the reasons that I have. What are some of the reasons that you are not delegating? Or for those of you who are delegating, what were your reservations before you started to share some of the work that you have as a real estate agent? Which, by the way, you can only grow so much before you have to start delegating, or you're going to start moving backwards. What were some of the reasons? Day, Marianne, day. Give me some reasons. The fear that no one can do the task right way, the same way as you. Yep. Christy feels like everyone else is as busy as she is, and she doesn't want to add to their plate. That's very nice of you, Christy. Way nicer than me. And I wouldn't say that is also a lame reason, with all due respect. Let's get into this though. Let's get into the 3 lame reasons, because I think we hit, here's one. In the time it takes, one I hear a lot, the time it takes me to teach someone, I may as well do it myself, right? You have a way of doing things. You have a way of writing verbiage for a listing. You have a way of doing everything, which is why you are, yes, Danielle and Caitlin, you guys have one of the best, worst excuses. We're going to get to that. In the time it takes, just, you have your way of doing things, and it's sort of organic. You learned it over time. You taught yourself, you studied, you tried things, and now you've arrived at, and you almost do it, some things without thinking, right? You just, I don't even know how I could tell someone how to do this. And it's true. It does. This statement is true. In the time it takes to teach someone, you may as well do it yourself, 100%. That one time. So that one time that you took the time to teach someone else, you now never have to teach them again. So the next time it needs to be done, they're doing it. And that's what this is all about. Delegating, you need the time. So as a human, you need to have the humility to understand that it is worth investing the time. You have to have the foresight. If you want to be a real business owner, and I'm saying real business owners have multiple people in their business taking care of the multiple tasks that have to be done. They don't do it all themselves, not without a cost. So show me a business owner who makes lots of money, and then show me their personal life. Case closed, right? Dawn, what do you want to say? You have a question? Or are you showing me? What do we got here? Hang on a second. Doodly-doo. Let me get up to my chat. Dawn, if you have a question, throw it in the chat. Caitlin, exhausted. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what they look like if they're successful and not doing it. If you just take the time to teach them that once, you'll be done. But you have to make the investment to do it. It's like an investment of money. You're making an investment, you're putting the money in, and then you're having the faith that that money will come back to you. You guys have to understand that money is not the only currency we're dealing in. You've got time, and you've got your emotional personal capital, like your personal life. These are currencies that you are also investing, and you need returns on. Yeah, Caitlin, amen, sister. Next lame. Nobody can do it as well as I can. Again, you know what, you guys? In a lot of cases, this is true. Nobody can do it as well as you can. Funny story. I brought a marketing assistant on years ago, which was great. Even though, you guys, I freaking love marketing. I'm really good at it. I have great instincts and I study it like a nerd. By the way, if there are any other marketing nerds out here, I recommend read Mark Schaefer, read Donald Miller. See, I'm like, like I can't get enough. These things are right here. Oh, here's another one. Shelley Zavitz, Marketing That Moves. These are books that are at my disposal all the time because I love marketing and I'm good at it. But it's not where I need, it's not the most valuable place that I can be to do the best for my business. So I had to sub it out. So I'm subbing it out. I took this listing that had been sitting, and the owner was a marketing executive. And I was like, bring it, come to mama. We got you. I am going to crush this. I made this like banging presentation. He was like, damn, okay, take it. So I took it and we made this gorgeous plan and we start executing and stuff is going out. And one of the things was this big e-blast about the property, very targeted, all this stuff about the property. And we send it out and I'm on my way over to the property to do sonos. I don't know what I was doing because it was already staged. Anyway, I'm over there and I see the campaign goes out. So I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, damn, that looks good. Oh, shit. I had put the wrong city. Like the wrong city. And I say I had put it because I had delegated this to my marketing assistant, who's also very good. But we work with a template, and she had taken it from the last listing and forgotten to change the city. Can you sit in the horror of that with me for just 1 minute? Because my client was on the list too. Okay. So I'm freaking out. She did not do it as well as I could. It was kind of a disaster in that moment. So what did I do? Because I'm the boss and I'm the entrepreneur, I'm the owner, everybody, all signs point back to me. This was my mistake. So I picked up my phone, I shot a quick video, and I was like, hey, it's Katie Clancy, and I'm over here at 123 Beach Street in Dennis. You might have just gotten a little email about that. I know, I think it says Harwich, but it's not Harwich. It's so Dennis. It's 100% Dennis. You guys want to see it? I did a live. At that time, Facebook Live was still pretty juicy. So I did a Facebook Live from the listing. I ended up getting so much more traction. I got more views on that video than I did clicks, opens on the email. It ended up being amazing. So that's a lesson in two things. First of all, own it, because they can't do it as well as you can. But if they can do it 80% as well as you can consistently, that's good enough. It's good enough, I'm telling you. And my client was never the wiser. I immediately, of course, like sent out, what did I do? I also sent out a second email with it basically drowned out the first email plus the video. We were fine. I owned it, and you just have to move on. And I'm still doing really good business. So there was a mistake, but it wasn't fatal. And I still had all that time that she spent getting that email ready, formatting it, making the list look great, making sure, it went out on time. I didn't need to be doing that. And I wasn't doing that. I was at the property where I should be, not behind a computer, which was awesome. So you're right. Nobody can do it as well as you can. If you can accept the fact that a consistent 80% as good as you is good enough, you will buy yourself so much more time. So, yes, Laura, thank you. We did turn it into a positive, and that's one of the things when you're at the helm, you've got to be able to pivot, which we're going to talk about actually very specifically in one of the next sections when we talk about what happens when you get punched in the face with an unexpected detour, but not yet. Let's find out the other lame reason that you are not delegating. Can't afford it. That's BS, you guys. I can't afford to pay somebody. Really? Okay, so what if you paid people when you got paid? What if they got paid when you got paid? What if they got paid because they helped make business happen? You can pay them that way to start. You 100% can. If you're not, it's because you're being greedy. Yeah, sit with that for a minute. The first time someone said that to me was, I think it was at a CRS conference, and oh, God love her. I love this woman and can't remember her name. Why? Well, I'll see if I put it in my notes. She made me understand that greed is what it's all about. Here it is. Here it is. Sasha Tripp. Used to be Sasha Farmer. Anybody else know Sasha? She's in Charlottesville, actually. Very successful leader and with a huge team. And she absolutely delegates. She said, if you're not delegating, it's because you're greedy. You don't want to share the money. And I was like, that's not 100% true. It's part of it. You can afford it. Start by paying people out of your commission for what they do. And then you need to also do the math and be like, wow, let's see, what is the going rate for someone in a part-time administrative? And by the way, that's the first thing you should sub out, is anything administrative. For a lot of people, that's marketing. For some people, it's like data entry, managing databases and whatnot. But definitely do not hire, if you're building a team, do not make an agent your first. Do you understand me? That's not the way to do it. You are just going to buy yourself so much more headache if you start with an agent. Start with an administrative helper of some sort. So look and see in your market what the going annual salary would be for that person. And then look at what you took in last year for gross revenue. When I say gross revenue, I'm talking about all the commissions, because you have a business and you're running a business that gets revenue. That's the money that comes in. It's a little soapbox moment. That is not your income. It's your revenue. So look at that revenue and say, could I spare, let's say the going rate is $30,000. Could I spare $30,000 if it meant that I closed 2 more deals? You're going to close more than that, I'm going to tell you right now. But how many deals does $30,000 represent? You can afford it, especially if you're paying per deal, like some percentage per deal. You can absolutely afford it. And just like anything else, when you first make an investment in something, you are going to be behind. You might have to go get the money to make the investment. That's what big girl businesses do. And you're a big girl business. So you gotta start acting like one and go find the money and make the investment in the help. Oh, mama, I have a full-time assistant right now who is actually she does a little bit of personal stuff and a lot of business stuff. I can't remember, and she's also licensed. The last time I attended a fire safety inspection, went to the town hall, drove, carpool. Listen, carpool's not all it's cracked up to be. I take a couple shifts a week, but not all of them. It breaks up the middle of the day. It's a real tough thing for a working parent to stop at 2 o'clock, because let's be honest, once you stop, it's real hard to get back in. It's not the half an hour there and from, it's the disruption in the flow of your day. She walks my dogs. She does anything that keeps me on task. And for me, who is very distractible, and we joke about ADHD, was like, I think it's a thing. And when I can stay on task, I get so much more done. And so I have gotten my money's worth and more from having her. In fact, she's gone today. She's on vacation these past 3 days. I'm not okay, you guys. I'm not okay. It's hard. But anyway, it's well worth the money. I highly encourage it, and definitely start with an administrative position. All right, how are we doing for time? Oh, we're doing great. We are doing awesome. All right, before we move on from the delegating piece, I do want to talk about that last comment that I think it was Caitlin said. Christy said, she said, I feel like everyone else is as busy as me and I don't want to add to their plate. That is making the assumption that they are getting nothing out of it, right? You got to make sure they get something out of it. What do you have to offer that someone would help you, would make it worth them to help you? Money's handy. Money's a great thing, but like, what if you, even just getting started, like with another agent, you want to barter some things like, hey, look, I noticed that you're really good at like the back office stuff. Your database looks beautiful. Oh, can you help me? Because I'm really good at marketing, and I could really, I'm noticing like your Instagram and your Facebook, and you could really use a tune-up, and I'll get you started on TikTok. Would you just clean up my database for me? If we could do that, that would be such a nice trade. So offer something that makes it worth it for them to help you. So that can just be a one-off thing, or like I said, an ongoing thing. Paying someone is really a very clean way to do it. But there are other ways that you can get started by delegating and asking for help. That's one of the things, guys, that we really need, especially going forward. We are independent contractors. We are not meant to be solo practitioners. And it's going to be tough to survive as a solo practitioner. So sooner than later, I recommend that everybody on this call either start building a team around you, starting with admin help, or go join a team. And watch how your income grows. Your income, not, you want to look at your bottom line. That's the number that we should be measuring. All right, I obviously could talk a long time about money. All right, let's move on. Let me see, any questions? No questions. Ooh, how to take a punch. I'm going to have a sip of water before we talk about this one. You see the images that I have here. One is sort of talking about economic or market shifts, legislation that comes up and suddenly changes the way you're able to do business, or if you even are able to do business. And the bottom ones are, you know, like natural disasters, pandemics. Mother Nature does not give a ding dang about your quarterly goals. She's got a flood for you, and here it comes. Or she's got a new germ that we're all going to share, and here it comes. And there's not much you can do about it. So some people there's certain personality types that I think can adapt faster than others. But in all cases, this is a time when we do need to be turning to each other, which is why I'm saying that, like, solo practitioner, you've got to be able to reach out for help. But that's just sort of a general feeling, general piece of advice that I have for you. Tough times make tough people. Don't be afraid of tough times. This is my first piece of advice. Have you ever noticed, and this happened to me recently, like, have things, and I am the happiest person in real estate, so I am not like a Debbie Downer at all. But in the past couple of years, after the initial sort of shock, like, and scare that COVID might be a bad thing for business, and things started to get real good, I was starting to feel a little comfortable. And that's nice for a minute. Like, when you climb a mountain and you get to the top, it feels good to be like, look back, look what I did. That was pretty good. I'm tired. I'm going to rest here for a minute. If you sit there too long, your butt kind of falls asleep, right? That's bad. When your butt starts to fall asleep, you know what that means? Your butt's going to start sliding back down the hill, right? Because it's too easy now. You got tough, which is great. But if you don't choose to work hard, if you don't choose to put hard things in front of you, God's going to put them there. And I don't know about you, but I like to be in control of things. So I like to always make sure I've got some challenges in front of me, but also be aware that Eric Thomas said this. He said, we're always either going into a storm, in a storm, or coming out of one. And if you can keep that in mind, you'll be in better shape. So the extension of this tough times comment, who was I watching? Joe DeCina, Tough Mudder guy, or is it Tough Mudder? No, Spartan Race, blasphemy. Said tough times make tough people. And we've all heard that, you know. Tom Brady said that he was worried that he was making his kids soft. And Joe's response was, you are. They have whatever they want at their beck and call. They get from A to B in a private jet. They have not known suffering. That does not mean that we, you know, make our kids sleep outside, but like, regular kids have disappointments. Regular people run into challenges where they run out of money and they can't afford to do the thing that they want to do, or they have to wait before they can do or have a thing because they have to work more, or they have to, whatever it is. That makes tough people. So I don't want you to be afraid of challenge and controversy. Okay. I'm crazy with the quotes today. This is one of my favorites though. Martin Luther King Jr. said, there is the actual measure of a man is not to be seen in moments of comfort and convenience, but in times of challenge and controversy. And that's where we find out what you're really made of. So let's talk about how I found out what I'm made of. So isn't this a cute picture? Oh my God, me and my little family about 12 years ago. I was so miserable during this time in my life. I was on the brink of divorce, foreclosure. I just lost my 5th baby. And I was in such a bad way, mentally and emotionally. And I was in the very beginning of my real estate career, not doing well at all. In fact, I hated what I was doing. It was so bad and so dark that I and I've never experienced anything quite like this, that I required some medication to keep me on this side. And I was just buried in shame and anger. All these terrible things just kept happening in my life. And every day it was just so hard to wake up and face it all. And so it's a very condensed version of my story. But one of the things, I did a lot of things. I got therapy, I got some medical help, I went back to church, I did a lot of things. And one of the things that really made me angry about the whole thing was that I felt like I was just the world's biatch. You know, I felt like I was just getting kicked around. And I recognized, and I had this like little ping go off, light go off, that I was complaining. Now, I had every right to complain. A lot of bad things are happening, and I was not feeling very good. And I guess I had the right to complain, but I got to tell you, I have no patience for the victim position. I just don't. And I recognize that I had put myself in the victim position. And I was like, oh, no, not today, not me, no way, that stops now. And I made a decision to stop defining myself by the things that had happened to me. Oh, I'm the girl that lost her baby. I'm the girl that lost her house, lost her marriage, blah, blah, blah. I would not be defined by those things. By the way, I kept my house. I kept my marriage. I did lose. All those babies are still here. But anyway, I kept most of the wonderful things in my life. I would not be defined by what happened to me, what the world did to me, but I would be defined by what I did in the world. And I took a note from one of those Sunday sermons, and I was like, and I had such a chip on my shoulder. I don't know about how you guys feel about church, but I was like, what do you think you're going to teach me, God? Giant boulder on my shoulder. And so I said, I'm going to go be a blessing to everybody they meet. Like SpongeBob, such an attitude, but I did it. Like there was some intuition inside me that was like, go out there and try to be nice to people. I was so miserable. So I started with the person that I was the meanest to, which was my dear, loving, amazing husband. And wouldn't you know, like I would do little things like, thank you for taking the garbage out. And I just started acknowledging him and the good things about him and complimenting him or whatever. He started to soften up. And like the marriage started to get better. I was like, oh my God, there might be something to this. So I started doing it with clients. And sure enough, and that's how I kind of got to like that humanity piece that we started in the beginning, the humanizing people. And then I started to take it a step further and got really interested in them. So like that guy I talked to you about that I thought was judging me and like whatever, having this big attitude and being disrespectful, I started asking him about business and his kids, because like, well, if he cared that much about his neighbor's kid, he must just adore his own. And he was like, oh, Katie, let me tell you. And like, he had great stories to tell about his kids. And I was like, wow, my business became so much more fun. Everybody was like so fascinating to me. I couldn't wait to meet the next person. I should probably advance here. I want you to have the same feelings about your life. I'm going to get to like actual practical steps when you really get punched. But when you get punched, do not wear it like a badge or this is my burden, carry that cross. I don't want to hear it. Suck it up, Buttercup. We all have a story. Everybody you talk to has been punched in the face or is about to be. So you don't have some special, my life is so hard, pass. You should be grateful that you were tested. Okay? Here's what you do though, when it does happen. First of all, you need to prepare. I need a sip of water. That was a lot. What does it mean by prepare? You need to have money. That's basically, this is one place where money is really handy. Money, this is a great quote from, God, I am killing it with the quotes today. Freddie Mercury said, money can't buy you happiness, but it can, but if you have it, then you can share. And I didn't know if he was talking about sharing the happiness or sharing the money, but either way, he's right. So if you have money, at least you don't have to worry about your mortgage or food on the table or just paying your bills to get through whatever it is that's happening, whether it's an illness. Many of you had bad COVID, and that really takes you out, or someone in your family did, and you had to take care of them. Like, that takes you out and off your game. Or guys, we don't know what's happening. Some of us are not going to make it in this industry going forward, and it's not going to feel good. But if you have money, you might be able to get through it. You also have to recognize that you got punched. Like, don't hang on to something that's not working. Cut it, cut it, cut it. And your ego is going to be the most expensive thing, but you have to let it go. Whatever it is, be like, yep, lost my house. What am I going to do? Got to find a new one. Moving in with so-and-so. Just move on. You cannot dwell on the garbage, because what you focus on will grow, and you don't want that pile of garbage to grow. You've got to move on. I say that, but at the same time, you can't move all the way on until you've looked at it real close and just picked it apart piece by piece. Look at every dirty, gross little part of what happened. Study it. Look what happened before. Look how you responded in the immediate moment. Look how you ultimately responded and how you are now. Do an autopsy, because if you don't learn from what happened, it'll happen again. And if you don't learn from what happened, you guys, it is like the best opportunity to learn, because the other thing that's going to come out of this is you are going to be emotionally charged and ready to do something. And if you also have education from your experience, that is going to be education and fire. Unbelievable combo. And the autopsy is different from educating yourself. When I say educate yourself, you need to understand what happened in the big picture. So if there is a big economic event that that punches you in the face, you need to understand that economic event. If there was a sickness or an injury or illness that happened to you or someone in your family, you need to understand how it happened. What's life going to be like going forward? Be like, just so, like, we all know someone who's had like a tragic accident. They lost a limb or paralysis or brain injuries. So, oh, okay, great. It's happened. Now we have to understand, what is life like now? Because life is going to continue happening. Get over it. It takes time to grieve. I understand that, but like, do your autopsy and then understand what life is like now, and how you can find the opportunity in it, because there is always opportunity. And you've got to identify them. Where are the opportunities now? You guys have seen the meme going around. She's a 10, but, and I saw this great one. I forget his name on TikTok. He's a skier, and he had a spinal cord injury, and so he's in a wheelchair now. And he's adorable, by the way. He's like, and he did his one. He's like, he's a 10, and he's got a handicap parking sticker. And it was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. This guy gets it. He's like, this is what we're working with now. He's still smoking hot, and now he gets a good parking space. He just got hotter, right? And he has embraced it. He's not just joking about it. He's like, yeah, no, I'm all that in a can of corn. So there's opportunities no matter what. You do need to regroup. This is easier for some people than it is for others. Sometimes you just get frozen and you're like, I'm having trouble just accepting what happened. I get it, but if you don't eventually regroup, you will perish. At least the path that you thought you were on is no longer going to be available to you. You might need to take a completely different direction, which is fine. But if you want to try to still achieve like the goals you're at, you got to regroup. Just regroup. Look at what you're working with. These are my resources now. This is my goal. What am I going to do? And then just effing go. please don't sit in that pile of poop. Nobody, it's not flattering to anyone. Any questions on that? I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. I would love to hear if anybody wants to share, because I know people have stories. I would love to hear a story or two from you. So if you want to type it into the chat, go ahead. I don't know if we're bringing anybody up on the screen or if anybody really wants to do that, but I think for the benefit of all of us, I shared my story, and you can see that I am now here, so it's possible. I want, so some of you will relate to my story and be like, oh, she did it, I could totally do that. But my story is different from what somebody else's might be. So I think it would be really awesome if one of you had the guts to jump on here and tell your story. If you want to, just type into the chat, I'll tell my story, and then I'll give you a minute to get it up there. And maybe, I don't know if I want to, we'll go for time here. We only have about 10 minutes. I'd love to see a story on there. I'm going to move on here while you do that. If you don't want to tell the story to the group, which though I really would love for you to do, click on, go to this QR code. This is a, so I'm writing a book right now about doing business while human. And I want to hear your stories. I want to hear your struggles, and they might end up in the book. And I'm happy to also connect with you if you want to reach out to me and say, yeah, that was a really cool webinar, and really rang some bells. Let me tell you what I'm up against right now. I'd love to hear your perspective. I would love to offer my perspective. If you think it would be useful, definitely reach out to me. And I'm going to do that on the next screen. We can go back to the QR code. And if you're watching on the recording, obviously pause and you can do it there. So let's go. If you want to reach out and share anything, come see. I mean, I'm everywhere, but Instagram seems to be the easiest way for everybody, the place where most people are. But dude, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of it. I'm just about everywhere. I would love to stay connected. And this is something that's really important for all of us. And also, if you have questions, put them in. We have a couple more minutes if anybody wants to ask a question or get some advice right now. Like, I'll help you with anything you're working on. Or if you want me to flash another slide from earlier. We have to be in this together. That's the human part also, which is more important even than the human part with your clients, is the human part with each other. We need each other. We as an industry are still here because we do a human business. We are only going to get better, bigger, and stronger if we connect more. And we're surrounded by people, especially, I'll tell you what, anything that Fraser puts together attracts really good people. So you can count on the people that are in this Agent U community to be really good people to connect with. What do we have in the chat here? Yeah, toss me any questions that you have, or anything if you wanted to. It's okay that you don't want to share your stories. I wish you would, though. At least put them here. And I don't have to use your name if you don't want me to, but I really do want to hear about how you guys are doing. And that is all she wrote, folks. So team, should I stop sharing? What do you want me to do?
You can keep it pulled up if you want. I actually wanted to make a comment because I feel like your story really resonated. I don't really have a story to share, especially from the agent perspective. But I did want to mention that, like, in your business, when you're meeting clients, they're coming to you because they need your service. Like, that's a particular need that they have. But that's not anywhere close to the amount of needs that they are actually facing in that exact moment. And they're not necessarily going to be explaining to you all of the needs that they have, all of the elements that are affecting their personality, how they're interacting with you, and those sorts of things. Like, and you can ask them and they're not necessarily going to share. So giving everybody that amount of grace that they're dealing with a lot, and it's not just trying to buy a house or refinance or anything of that sort. Just let them get through the process, give them as much grace as you can, and serve them the best that you can so that they feel like they have at least a little bit of control left in their life. Like if everything's even feeling like it's spiraling out of control, or even if it's as simple as, like the dog was feeling sick that day and they're running around trying to get kids to soccer practice, and everything's just feeling like a scramble. You're just not having the best day. Just having somebody in their corner and saying, I got your back and I'm going to help you out and don't worry about this. Like that gives them a little bit of control back in their lives so that they can
Laura, you
then take that positivity ahead and
you absolutely
interacting
nailed
with
it.
others.
So the humanity piece, I alternate back and forth using the word humanity and the word grace. And the grace is giving people unmerited favor. You don't know anything about them, but you're just going to assume the best. Assume the best. Assume that they are in a bit of a struggle. Everybody you're working with who is buying or selling property is doing it at a crossroads. It is a crossroads in their identity, right? It is probably at a time in their life where they're gaining people in their life through a marriage or a birth, or they're losing people, divorce, death. And these are big moments. I often say that choosing a real estate agent is a lot like choosing an obstetrician. Ladies, are you with me on this? Like this person is going to be under the hood. They are going to be all up in your business. They're going to know about your family life. They're going to know about your finances. So when people are coming to us, they need to understand that you've got them, that you're here, and that you can be trusted. And what is the problem in the culture of our real estate industry is that all of the brokerage community is there to make money. Of course, we're there to make money too, but we're also there to feel purpose. These brokerages have to meet dollar goals. I mean, so do you too. And not all of them give, in my opinion, enough weight to the human experience. And are you ever measured on how happy your clients are? Some companies do have like your surveys all came back nice. But most people are only measured by their productivity. Melanie, good point. People may not remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. 100%. Yeah, absolutely true. So that is, and again, when I first introduced sometimes the idea of like humanity and grace, some people sort of glaze over because they're like, oh, you can't possibly make money doing that. Like, yeah, yes, you can. In fact, you can do it and be happy at the same time. I don't feel like I compromise my values ever for my business. I'm never pushing anybody to do anything they don't want to do. If someone has made a noise like they need my help, I check in. I'm like, do you need my help? Oh, awesome. Oh no, great. All right. I'll just keep in touch with you. I'll reach out again later. I'm never trying to close all the time, yet I close business all the time. So Sheila, thank you. Yes, even though you didn't say this, I feel like you were communicating success with others goes back to the golden rule. Dude, there is nothing new on this earth. Treat others as you'd like to be treated. Yes. Yes. And you've done the same thing. That's why it's golden, Caitlin. Absolutely. I think sometimes we just need to hear it a different way and hear that someone is doing it and really leaning into it in every moment, in the tiny moments, not just like, oh, I served them because I helped them get a house. No, you served them because you let them just drone on about, by the way, my dog crapped all over the house this morning and I missed my day was a wreck before I came to you guys, but that's life. But if you can give people space to like sort of vent or be sad or be confused or be a little annoying, frankly, sometimes that's just what they need. And it doesn't cost you that much. It really doesn't. And the results are invaluable. All right, I am respectful of everybody's time here. We have 3 minutes left. Ladies, tell me what you want me to do with it because I can talk for 300 minutes if you want me to.
Yep. So as you see on the screen there, you have ways to follow Katie on
Yes.
social. And as we are talking here, if you have any other questions for Katie, please drop them in the chat. We're still able to answer some of those, and she can always post later and connect with you directly if you follow her. We did mention at the beginning of the call that there will be a giveaway. This is our first Agent U giveaway, and we're really all about free swag here. So our first giveaway is going to be this really great heavy duty Agent U branded cooler that you can use all year round for all your activities. We're going to be sending out an email after the call, and it'll have a link to provide some feedback about today's event. And if you submit some feedback, you'll automatically be entered to win. We're actually going to announce the winner on the next live stream, so make sure you tune into that. And speaking of which, the next live streamer is going to be Dave Finale. We're really excited to have him on as our next guest speaker. Make sure you're checking our social media pages and our website for more information as we share more info about him and his upcoming speaker topic. Again, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. We're happy to have Katie speak about anything you need. She's at your disposal, so this is your time to do it.
Absolutely. And Melanie just said some people just need to yell a little. For some people that will like go up and down, like it might trigger something from your childhood, but like if sometimes people just need to yell, and the instinct that we have is to be like they're yelling at us about us, and they're usually not. And they may be yelling at you and they may be venting at you. Just step aside, let it be delivered here, and then listen to what they're actually saying and what you think is actually going on. Sometimes someone's just feeling super out of control. Something was a surprise. They lost track of some piece of information and it's suddenly coming up as new to them. You don't go, I told you that 2 weeks ago. You'd be like, oh, I can totally see why you would be alarmed by that. I know I meant to mention that to you last week, and I'll check my emails to see if I sent it, but totally. All right, so let's figure it out. My apologies if I didn't. You know you did, but my apologies if I did. Don't get caught up. Don't get in a struggle. Be there with their problem and try to help them solve it in the moment.
Yep. All right, well, it looks like nobody has any other questions in the chat. Katie, we're so glad to have you on here. You gave so much great insight. Hopefully we had everybody take away something that they can use starting right after this call. You know, if somebody's bugging you in your emails, give them some grace. Be a problem solver, find a solution. If somebody sent out the wrong place that a house showing is, like, send out a video, go learn how to live stream a video. It'll be great. Your followers will love it. And thank you everybody for joining us. Just stay tuned for the next speaker series, and always be checking the website for fresh content.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks everybody.
Thanks everyone.